strong language and has therefore been rated 18 plus by the YouTube NECCA. Viewer discretion is advised. YouTube, NECCA, and the makers of this video do not condone the usage of foul language in any situation or circumstance. The explicit content shown within this clip may also be disturbing viewing for mature adults. All people in and involved with this video are innocent until proven guilty.
Alright, and we back on the Fix for New York Libertarian podcast. I am one half of your host, Cash First.
My name is Zach. I go by the name of z.nyc on Instagram, and we are here to fix New York.
Yeah, so when we say the Fix for New York, it's not only talking about our city, it's just that we're the largest city in the United States with either the first or second largest amount of population per capita. So if we're able to fix everything over here, it's just going to spill over to the rest of the nation, all major cities, along with towns or rural areas. So what starts over here creates a domino effect moving forward.
New York City is a trendsetter, has been for all of time.
Exactly, thank you. We've been trendsetters for a long time. A lot of people come here worldwide because of that. And today, somebody who wants to restore the vibe, bring back that element of trend setting, bring back the whole, emotional joy of people coming here from the outside and the people living here on the inside and never wanting to leave. Libertarian mayorial candidate, Miss Stacey Prussman, welcome.
Welcome to the show.
Glad to have you here. And I just want to say, you taking such an initiative to go for a high-ranking position, I think arguably the most popular mayoral position within the United States. Probably, because people talk about de Blasio right now as an example. People talked about Giuliani back in the day. People talked about Bloomberg. But you never really heard much talk about other mayors throughout other major cities within the U.S.
It's true.
So, Stacey, for you to be doing that, that's like, beyond epic. And I just want to give you your props for that. And on top of that, she gets a double because, it's above and beyond, the threshold point. So
yeah, it's a very important position, and we need someone there that is going to be much better than de Blasio, or as I call him, Warren Wilhelm Jr., because that's his real name, in case we forgot. Changed it. We don't know why.
Well, right this time. Well, I mean, de Blasio's done.
Yes.
Anyway, term is over. He didn't do a great job, obviously. No one likes him. They don't, the Dems, Republicans, they all hate him. I don't hate him. And we are in unprecedented times. We've never been, I've been in the city my entire life, and we've never been locked down like this. We're closed up. We're the city that never sleeps, and now we're sleeping. And it's really sad. It's devastating. Like Manhattan, I walk the streets of Manhattan, I can't believe what I see.
You're able to find parking and
yeah.
You're not bumping into people like before.
Yeah, the city's closed and you can find a spot.
It's true.
On a Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So I've worked in the city. I've lived in almost every borough, and I walk through the city and I see the businesses closed and people on the streets. The homeless population has gone haywire. Addiction is horrific. There's overdoses more than ever right now, and it's not what our city's about. I mean, we've always had a homeless population, obviously, some by choice and some by mental illness, and we've both had a mix of that. But now it's out of control, and people have been leaving in droves, droves. I mean, there's huge percentages of I don't know the exact percentage, but I know that in one of my friends' buildings, 60% of the apartments are open.
Wow.
And speaking of 60%, 60% of restaurants in New York City have closed for good as well. So more than half the population of New York City is out of jobs or leaving the city, and it is
filling in some
not
way, shape,
good.
or form. Yeah, B. And with you mentioning that, we seen where they're going to. They're going to Florida. They're going to New Jersey as well, and Connecticut, Pennsylvania. They but mostly Florida, because people saying down there that is affordable. They're able to.
Yeah, the rent. Yeah.
They're able to have good traffic movement during the rush hour periods, because I think it was between Florida, New York, and California, definitely top three most populated, whatever. But everybody says the same thing. Oh, when you're rushing through or when you're driving through rush hour, you're not really getting jam packed and all that. So now, even though you're able to move through here, just the whole closing and everything, just like so what's making that down there be such the hot spot? Because they're supposed to be shut down as well, the way we are, but they're not.
Well, it's true. That's another thing. And also, it's very easy to live in Florida comparatively. You have nice weather, the rents are cheaper, the cost of living in most areas of Florida is much easier to live. Like, for instance, I worked, for at least 20 years as an actress before that. Like, that was my career. I also did speaking in college. I traveled the entire country speaking, and that was a way to make a living when I wasn't doing stand-up. And both those industries are kind of shut down. Comedy definitely shut down comparatively. I mean, not totally, but not enough to tour full time and make a living. And speaking on the road, colleges, I could do too, but it's not the same kind of money. So my day jobs and also, if I haven't worked in a restaurant, which I never really did, that wasn't my thing. When I was much younger, I did. Those jobs are, pretty much non-existent. So even the day jobs for an actor, that one, if you didn't have a show or a comedian, those are not existing. People are fighting for jobs at CVS, McDonald's now. You can't even get a job unless you're a medical professional or you can deliver stuff and you have a car. So it's even those, other than essential workers like that, you can't find a job.
So many industries have been destroyed this past year, especially in New York City, which is the mecca of many industries, such as comedy, entertainment, like you said yourself. And it's just bad to see. It's very bad to see.
And I've done consulting work, and those are dried up for different types of companies. So it's just been really difficult, and I see it in my life, and I see it in my friends' life. And the thing that's so crazy is that snowfall. Usually people mess up their own lives. Like, I've done it before. My friends have done it before, and I don't mean I'm not a perfect person. Like,
we all make mistakes.
We made a mistake. I mean, and so like I would take responsibility, but I messed my life up. I lost that job, or I didn't like that job at the office. But now it's like those don't even exist. It's no fault of anybody that things are closed down. So that's unprecedented. So now the federal government overstaffed, state government overstaffed, closed stuff down, and now no one's paying the American people. They should be paying us for cities. If you want us to stay home, you pay us to stay home.
Yep, and they're not even doing that.
I mean, if they would have handled it, we're going to pay you 2 months, 3 months. Everyone stays home except for essential workers. Then you'll go back to work. We'll open up slowly. We'll go to phase, however phase they could do it, and then we would have been back to work. But we didn't do it cohesively as a nation. We all, there's no borders in our country. Like, there's no border between Florida and New York. So you can't control what people do. We didn't work together, and that's a problem. So if the federal government's going to mess stuff up, they better fix it.
Yeah, for some reason, the government seems to think that it is okay to stop people from working and then also not compensate them as well, so they can be able to afford to pay their bills and take care of their family, which I don't understand, but I don't know.
I wonder why everyone's so angry and this protest. Everyone's they'll protest anything, at this point.
Yep.
And people are stuck home. We're a proud nation. We're a proud nation of people that love to work. They work hard in their careers. I've worked hard in my career my entire life.
Especially New Yorkers. New Yorkers don't like being told what to do. Everything is, get the fuck out of my way. Let me do me, mind your business.
We're the city of people that, come here from all over the world to make it, to become whatever they want to be. It's like it was the mecca of everything. And now, everything's been taken away. And people in New York don't want to ask for help. Even if the most proud people I know have to ask for help. And from the the government, and that feels really gross.
Yeah, definitely.
This nation was not founded upon citizens asking the government for help. It was founded upon people being able to fend for themselves and fight for themselves and take care of themselves.
And what I think right now is, go ahead, Stacey.
And I'm sensitive to people that have been through tough times and people who have been, in a domestic violence situation where they need help. And that's what, and that's fine. People go through like really dark periods, people coming out of jail or out of rehab or out of mental illness situation where they haven't been able to work with physical illness. And that's where help is needed. But for healthy people that want to work and have everything together, that is really hard. The help should be saved for people who need it and, are in, specifically their own tough times. And I believe that's where it belongs, in that type of situation, but not for people who are ready.
Pardon for that. You're absolutely right. Definitely. How you're saying, we have to worry about people's health right now. I know somebody who will remain anonymous, but recently they had gone to a psychiatrist to like vent and all that, and mentioned having suicidal thoughts. And what this particular psychiatrist did, again, we're gonna keep it anonymous, but it's complete facts. God strike me dead if I'm lying. My New Yorkers feel me when we talk like that. They know that it's straight truth that's being spit. The psychiatrist recommended her to be taken inside a ward, pretty much, where this individual who just went to find somebody to vent to, because a lot of this individual's friends decided to go to Pennsylvania, to Florida, etc., different places for the time being until things get better, which right now all we keep seeing is a lot of back and forth. They gave us some breathing room during the summer, but even during the summer, a lot of festivals and outside activities were either shut down or limited to a heavy time constraint. So she goes to the psychiatrist, right? And the psychiatrist is like, oh, okay, you've been feeling type suicidal? Right away, boom, psych ward. They kept her there overnight. And then on top of that, her relatives were calling to check up on her in the psych ward while being parked outside of the hospital where the ward was in, right? And they're not seeing no action COVID-wise. This is actual fact that came out in the news, and there was plenty of people who put it out on social media as they passed these hospitals. They weren't these chaotic danger zones as they were made out to be. And even right now, if you go out to these CV, feel me on the coding, don't want to have the algorithm catch too many things. These trusting sites, they're empty. So this woman was put in a psych ward right next to where there was a hospital holding alleged positive people, along with a separate testing site. And they were just putting the pressure like, yo, why did you put this individual in there when they were just trying to vent to a psychiatrist? So that's what their profession is about, being somebody who could vent to them. And then on top of that, endangering their lives, putting them somewhere where there's allegedly COVID positives and a testing site as well, where we don't know who's coming in. Oh, you see, I gotta be careful right there. Give me.
Well, I guess the psychiatrist, if she did try to kill herself, didn't want to be responsible or help. Maybe she felt she was going to kill herself any second. I don't know what the conversation was with the psychiatrist as a person, but they do a 72-hour hold. But I don't think that they're allowed to do that unless they really. I've never experienced that. From my friends who have been in psych wards. It has to be really that to get to that point. They try to talk to you and figure out what's really going on. I've been a therapist myself. I don't know if they diagnosed how serious. I don't know how far she was in her like.
No. To cut you off real quick, you're elaborating on it, which I agree with. So in the explanation's defense, completely calm, male or well, did I say it already? So yeah, female. I'm trying to keep it anonymous here, but the female was venting the way you and your homegirls would talk. For example, let's say if you take a walk through Central Park, or if you're shopping somewhere, it could be Queens Center Mall, it could be Bay Plaza, It could be Getty Square in Yonkers, Cross County Mall in Yonkers. You know, these different areas like, oh, I don't know, I feel like killing myself. This shit is driving me crazy, blah, blah, blah. You know, regular daily talk. And just based off of that, because I know this individual, I know the way that they talk and the context they put whatever they're speaking about in, and they're not at that level. They were just venting on some regular stuff with words that could be perceived in many different ways but shouldn't be taken so to heart. And that's exactly what occurred here.
I think what's important from that example is the hypocrisy of
Yup.
how you're going to take like Stacey said, I don't know the story, I don't know the context of the conversation. However, to take a physically healthy person, maybe not mentally healthy, we don't know. The psychiatrist obviously deemed not mentally healthy. However, to take a physically healthy person and put them in an alleged COVID hotspot, a hospital,
Yeah.
that's just the hypocrisy of this entire COVID thing itself, is that there's no, we're just feeding people to it at this point. To take someone that is healthy, yes, exactly. So that's what I took from that.
Well, one of my big campaign issues that is, 2021, if we're done with this crap, and I'm mayor, I think mental health is going to be one of the main issues that we're going to deal with, because I lived through 9/11, and that was one day in Flora, and that's still that today, and my friends that went through it. So I can imagine.
A lot of people don't like getting in the subway to this day because of you know, whether on.
I don't like going to the subway. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay. Look at that. I guessed right on point.
I love the subway to this day. It's more empty than ever before. It's great. I can get on a subway car now and not be near anybody because nobody rides the subway anymore.
But
I don't like being close to the car. I think it's very uncomfortable. If the doors don't open in between, I don't want to go in that car.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix, but it's just that element of danger.
Yeah.
You know, that it's just like this occurred over here, that over here everything is being like monitored and surveillance, you know.
Yeah.
I've seen people steal like little things like t-shirts and all that, and the cops catch them like a block or two down.
The subway is a strange place.
It's just like wow, you know, with that occurring, it could be traumatizing in correspondence to right now with this whole CV stuff. That's gonna be the trauma. That's gonna be the next obstacle we gotta overcome as we're getting out of this, if we even happen to get out of it. So, all right, let's say God willing, I'm not religious. Everybody's, you know, entitled to their First Amendment rights to believe in whatever they want to believe in. I just believe in an almighty higher power, which we call God. God willing, you win. You're mayor, boom. Where do you begin from there to start getting everything back to what it used to be and even better?
Well, that's going to be a challenge. I have to look at the budget, see what's going on there.
Oh, okay. Look, she's thinking financially first. Yeah.
You need to look at the budget.
I'm pretty sure we're bankrupt, by the way.
Exactly. I want to deal with getting the, first of all, I want to deal with physical health, mental health of people, right? Because we need to see what's going on. Our people have, post-traumatic stress. We want to get small businesses back and running as much as we can. We want to help them. We want to see where they are in their business and hopefully be able to get them back running. We want to bring people back into the city. We want to take away a lot of zoning, which is a big deal, like the housing and the business zoning, because all those office buildings are dead.
Yeah.
Right now, right? Like, and they're not coming. A lot of people are not going to go back to the office. Let's face it. We are not going back to the office unless we have to. Unless you're a doctor or somebody like that needs to be physically with you, or people are going to rent smaller spaces, like where they would have 20,000 feet. Now they need 5,000 feet. We'll have our administrative people that need to be in the office. Like, for instance, a lot of my friends work in real estate. Like, now people working from home, and they have one little, rather than having 20 desks, they have one little desk where they can file the papers. So, offices are going to be used more for just admin and administrative type stuff, and to hold papers, work, and stuff. And everything now is on the cloud and the computers. Everything's computerized.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely one thing that we took by default with all this stuff occurring was you don't have to be in physical presence. Look, we're interviewing you right now. We had Larry here in person, but we got you streaming in. We could utilize the technology we have to our best advantage. And this also helps again with the whole traffic issue. I don't have road rage. I'm a patient driver, but there's a lot of people who do catch road rage. That's another reason they leave New York City, by the way, because they always complain the traffic, you can't make rights on red and all that. So this right here has shown us a lot of things could be done from home, which in turn, as you said, is gonna free a lot of that office space to put other people in these, places to occupy and be productive.
Right. I mean, people can work from home if they want. So one of my ideas is take the office spaces and hopefully convert some of them to middle income housing, low, affordable housing.
Ah, okay, smart. Yeah, we was gonna get to that next, but go ahead, continue. We're gonna get to that too.
And also, people working, so maybe you have office spaces in the same building, so you're not working in your home necessarily, you're working in your same building. So you don't have to commute, but you're not in your house. So have little, sort of like little office spaces built that are like socially distanced and and private. Maybe that could be a part of your rent, or part of the make it affordable where you're not working in your bedroom like I do right now. You're working or your kitchen, and you don't get distracted, but yet you're in an office that's not your office. And if you can be clients there if you need to, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whatever your business is, and the businesses that are still renting office space, we can help them stay there somehow. Create a situation where it's more affordable. Maybe give them a tax break in some way since they're really struggling.
Trump capitalized off of that a lot. I was watching one of his documentaries. On one of his properties, he was able to cut a deal. I think it was the mayor before Koch. That he had somewhat of a amicable, friendly relationship with. That he cut him a deal on one of the properties. I believe it was either 30 or 40% tax benefits, in contrast to having to answer for expenses and property land tax and all that. 30 to 40 years. The documentary is on Netflix and on YouTube, so you guys can look it up. Today's about Stacey, but just wanted to put that into correspondence as well. The tax breaks, they'll help the exactly.
Middle-sized businesses are suffering as well. The box stores, they get away with everything, and that's something, we never had box stores in Brooklyn, really, when I was growing up. I'm not talking like Macy's, I'm saying we didn't have like Kmart, we didn't have Walmart, we didn't have any of that stuff. And we have a Kmart now in Manhattan. I don't know how many, one or two. We have them there in Long Island. We never had big box stores. We had mom and pop stores, and we had the department stores, but we didn't have so many box stores. Target, we have so many of those throughout New York City. I'm not throwing them out. They serve their purpose. We have so many stores that are just as good, if not better, than Target.
Of course, and further pointing out the hypocrisy of COVID is that we can shut down little, as you said, mom and pop stores that have about 5 people in a store at once, but we can allow 100+ people into a Target or a Kmart or whatever Macy's big department store in New York City, and it's perfectly fine. And all that benefits is corporations, and I'm a capitalist, but I'm not a corporatist. Yeah. So I am 100% in support of small businesses and not of big corporations. And we're only, with all these restrictions and laws and regulations, whatever you want to call them for COVID, we're only hurting small businesses, and corporations are profiting, and it doesn't help anybody but the people who own those corporations.
I'll give you a perfect example of that. I'm very big on white, black, or sometimes striped plain t-shirts along with basic collar shirts as well.
You are.
I've always found the most appealing of these items that I like to purchase within those mom and pop stores. Like, I have a friend who used to own his own fitted store on Fordham Road in the Bronx. He sold tees, jeans, Jordans, fitteds, etc. He had to move his store to Union City, New Jersey, just because of the taxes. And he's saving, I think it was about 15 to 20,000 in property land tax just because of that. And a lot of people, since he was always reliable and he would be open all the way up until 11 at night. Because I remember anytime when I was back in high school and all that I wanted to look fresh the next day going to school, If I needed something last minute and I didn't get to make it to Jimmy Jazz or to Foot Locker, boom, let me hit my man's spot real quick. He opens till 11. So I could cop it and just lay it out on the sofa and be ready for tomorrow. Boom.
Right.
You know, so bringing these businesses back, exactly.
We want them back. We don't, New York got, I remember the last couple of years, got too big for their britches, and, they took away the middle class, and even the upper middle class couldn't afford it. I have friends that make $100,000 a year, they're barely able to afford their rent, now. I mean, it's crazy. So, we need to bring back, normal, everyday working class people in Manhattan as well.
Yes,
And
we do.
If you mess with people, they leave. I realize that. Also we have to, a lot of, before this happened, there was a lot of like foreign entities that bought storefronts or rent storefronts, and they just left them blank and empty. I don't know if you ever noticed that, like in a lot of blocks in Greenwich Village, like not McDougal Street, but around McDougal Street, 7th Avenue, they all like were shut down, like for months. And I'm like, why are all these stores that I grew up with empty? And so well, people from other nations rent out the property, buy the property, and they just leave them empty.
Yes, it's true.
We don't want ghost town either. Like, I don't want my city to be a ghost town.
No activity, no productivity.
So what is a solution to that then, Stacey? If you are the mayor, how do we fix it? How do we return the middle class to New York City? Does it have something to do with lowering New York City taxes? Are there incentives for the middle class? What do we do to get people back?
Creating affordable housing, definitely. Opening up, obviously, businesses. Encouraging, like giving small business incentives to come back. Gourmet food shops. Like, for instance, I travel upstate a lot to do shows before the pandemic, and a lot of people from downstate would go upstate so they could, have a bar, have a restaurant, because it's too expensive to open a restaurant.
Yes,
There,
it is.
they would open up and the rent was like nothing.
A lot of good Puerto Rican restaurants went to upstate, and to the Jersey Hudson area just because of that. But yeah, continue. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, even upstate further. They go to Binghamton, they go to these small cities upstate so they can have the land, have the space to create a restaurant. I know a friend that made a brewery up there. I mean, there's people, it's too much of a risk for people to open a restaurant here and sign a lease for 15 years. They might not survive a year, and they're bankrupt. So
Yes.
we need to give them incentives to come back, taxes, maybe shorter leases, things like that. The housing, of course, would be important. Creating, I was thinking of bringing medical professionals, give them incentives to come in, open more medical centers.
Oh, definitely, we need
more
that.
Hospitals, smaller, or maybe, obviously more specific hospitals with different types of illnesses. Try to get doctors and nurses to come to New York. That would be great. It's obviously needed.
Heavily needed. I'll give you an example real quick right here. My left index finger, I had cut myself many years ago with one of the sharpest knives on the planet called the paring buddy. Anybody who purchases that knife, believe me when I tell you, and thank God I'm able to make a fist, I'm actually a better striker with my left now, and I'm actually a natural righty and all that. I almost lost my index finger. I had one of the best doctors who works, I don't know if he's still here, but in New York City, that he's worked on sports professionals, firefighters, construction workers, people who have gotten shot and all that. I had ripped through the nerve, and right now, left hand, being that he was accessible here within the city, he was able to work on me. Same day I was in and out of the hospital. He had the best anesthesia possible. Like, I woke up and I didn't feel nauseous right away, and my vision has stabilized. Doctors like this individual who, once again, thank you very much. This was back in 2011, so I don't really remember his name, but he was in St. Luke's Hospital. So if he ever gets to see this, once again, thank you. You brought my finger back, because you lose a finger or any type of limb, that's a life-changing experience, unless we have people available in close proximity who can attend to it. So people like that we have to incentivize to bring back. I just wanted to provide that example to the people watching and all that. Oh, we got great viewership. I think we're at 28 already.
Very nice.
That's something I would like to do with a lot of the office space. Maybe convert it to medical, some medical, so people.
I've seen a lot of people come to New York City. You know how they talk about, oh, if you go to this country, whatever, you have a doctor who specializes in this type of cosmetic, for example, like people who, let's say, cosmetically, like vision, dental. I had braces at one point and all that. A lot of people were coming to New York City out of any place within the United States. Like I could talk about people coming in from Honduras, El Salvador, because you got a lot of Central Americans on Long Island, which is, pardon me, and on Queens as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're in close proximity. I had a lot of people come from Puerto Rico, for example, because a lot of doctors within the past 20, 25 years, cosmetics as well, dentistry, all that have been leaving Puerto Rico, going to Orlando, going to Pennsylvania, going to Connecticut, going to Boston, and Jersey as well. This would always be like a safe haven for them where they knew that as well as being, you know, not too fluent in the English language and not too familiar with everything else, at least they knew a destination where they wanted to get something done, they could get to a well-known, you know, dentist, any type of cosmetic work,
Right.
and boom, have them accessible at a moment's notice. As soon as they arrive, leave the airport, boom.
Exactly. Because a lot of doctors don't want to work in this, you know, experienced doctor. They don't want to work in Manhattan because, you know, let's say making a ton of money, they will make a ton of money, but, you know, they want to be in Florida or a nice, you know, warm environment, especially as they get older. So, you know, we want incentives to bring people back here, you know, especially in the winter when a lot of people are, you know, going south or somewhere else.
Yeah, I defend you a lot on this, by the way, when people tell me why, you know, and this is only me hearing from them when they say, oh, well, we're not seeing her outside as much. I always ask them, are you outside a lot these days right now? They always tell me, yeah. So they always tell me, oh, no.
I know where I am.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that.
I'm outside. I go out, you know, I'm outside. I go out to eat whenever I can and have the money to do so. I support my restaurants. I travel. I'm in my neighborhood shopping all the time. I don't know who's telling me about going outside.
Send that clip to everyone who said she's not outside.
Oh, I will, and I'm glad that she just she was able to defend herself instantly. No, I always tell them the first thing I hit them with. I ask them, "Are you outside frequently right now?" They always say no, and I ask them, "All right, why?" Oh, because you know the restaurants they're type limited and all that. I can't go to lounges and it's break. Break is slang for it's cold. You're gonna hear that a lot, especially as you go to the more you know, urban areas within the city. Because even in the city, you got, you know, commercial areas, suburban areas, and then the urban areas where it's more like hip hop, people who are into the whole entertainment side of things. You know, along with you being a comedian, you know, the music industry, sports and all that. So we say it's brick, as in, oh, it's cold and all that. So they always tell me that, and I tell them, do you think Stacey's a robot or a human being? Oh, she's a human being. All right, so right now, if we're under such heavy restrictions and it's cold, you can't really expect it to be outside too much. Oh, okay, I get it now. But I always tell them.
Are they watching my house? How did I know where I am?
Stacy, going.
Who's watching me?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't like the people who told you that.
Yeah,
That's
these
weird.
people love being critical. I just wanted to put that out there. So boom, you know, knock that one out the
No,
park.
so why you come over and take me to dinner?
Yeah, take her out to dinner.
Take her out to
Going on top of, yeah.
And, you know, actually, I'm home a lot writing policy with my team.
Being productive. Y'all see, all you critics out there.
With my team, literally, we're working night and day. It's like it is a full-time job. So, you know, it's become, this is my home office. And then when I get a chance to go out, I go to my gym, which I support. You know, I go to, you know, I'm a member of 2 gyms. So I give money to gyms and you know, I go out. I don't know. I shop. You want me to go take me shopping? Or go out
You don't have to. You don't have to answer those kind of critics, Stacy. They're irrelevant. They're haters.
Nah, but they, you know, they gotta hear this as well.
Yeah, they have to hear it.
They
That's
have
true.
to hear this
I
as well,
guess.
and like that, we get it out the park ahead of time, because you know elections will be next November.
Yep.
So from here to
I'll be
there,
here tomorrow.
we want everything answered, you know. And Stacey, so
You know, Andrew Yang has $1 million. I don't have $1 million. I'm a
I
real worker.
so yeah.
I've worked in every like millions of different industries.
Mhm.
I've worked day jobs. I've worked in entertainment. I've worked in restaurants. I've
You're
You're a
right.
real New Yorker. That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly.
Is Andrew Yang even from New York?
I'm not sure. I could look that up. Let's see.
Stacey, do you know if Andrew Yang is from New York?
He's from upstate originally.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, he should stay out of New York
So,
City then.
Yeah. So even though, hold on, before the upstaters, you know, end up hearing that, and for some reason or another, no, because some people, they happen to get in there, and we don't want them in their feelings. So, you know, no hostility to upstate, but it's just like, all right, we have a valid New York City native in comparison to a New York State native, even though New York State is nothing but love. But, you know, with that right there, it's just like you want somebody from home to explain the best ways to fix home. Can't nobody tell me right now what's in my fridge besides me, because, you know, that's my fridge. It's within, you know, my domicile and all that. So,
Stacey's.
Oh.
I mean, I've been living here my entire life. I'm a born, raised Brooklyn girl. I lived in almost all the boroughs. I've worked in every borough at one point in my life. I hustled my butt off as I was pursuing my career and as an actor and a comedian. I've been actually, not only have I been in every borough, I've been in every state of the union. So I've been,
okay.
I performed in every state of the union. I've done my speeches in every state of the union. So I have a great feeling for America as America, and I know New York. And New York is very unique.
Yes, it
You know,
is.
it's a very unique, beautiful place, and I don't like to see the way it's gone down, and I can't believe how ineffective our leadership was, both mayorial leadership and our state governor in this whole pandemic. It's been up and down, all around. It's like inconsistency is the worst thing to do to any city or any country. And
Yes.
we've had more inconsistency this year than ever. And to be a good leader, you have to have consistency in your plan. Yes, things change day to day, and I totally respect that. But you have to be consistent with your people.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm going to do. I want to create consistency.
What?
I want Americans to feel safe again. And you're go out to a restaurant, and restaurants need to be held accountable for. I'm not one for huge regulations, but if you're going to go out, do what wear a mask. It's not a big deal to wear a mask. There's a way to sensibly wear a freaking mask. People think, oh, it's taking away my freedom. Wear a mask when you're around people, and then if you're not around people, you don't have to wear a mask. That's how I do it.
Like me, I'm anti-mask, but I compromise. If I gotta go inside a bodega, a 99-cent store, anywhere that I'm going inside of, I gotta throw this thing on for the time being. So whatever, just hold that for the few minutes that you in there, and as soon as you get out of there, just take it off. Because you as mayor, I don't think you're gonna be pressuring NYPD. Lock everybody up if you see them without a mask, right?
Which did happen this past summer. That did happen. They were finding people.
Respecting your neighbor. It's respecting. It's the reason why we mask. It's like I talk about it like this, like 2 condoms, right? 1 condom effect is like 98%. 2 condoms, you ain't getting pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So just think of it that way.
My issue with masks and any sort of indoor dining regulations, we don't even have indoor dining anymore, when we were at capacity limits, is that they are simply an effect of government mandations. And
we still haven't gotten to hit the buffet.
We haven't. We have not. We've been trying to for a very long time. And a bit of a hypothetical for you, Stacey. I understand that you think it's important for people to wear masks. I do agree to an extent. However, the reason that we're wearing masks inside of every single store and restaurant is not, I believe it should be up to the restaurant owner or the store owner, whoever that is, to mandate what they want customers and their employees doing within their own private space.
Mm-hmm.
And for the government to tell people that they'll be fined or shut down simply if they do not follow these mandations, I think is wrong.
Well, the issue there is that everyone thinks they're fine, and then until there's an outbreak because your restaurant caused it, and then guess what's going to happen? And then that person brings home, then you're killing your workers, and that's not fair to the workers that have no choice to work in that environment. And that's what I feel like you're protecting your employees.
So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you come into the mayor's office, COVID is not any better, there's still heavy regulations, mandations that are affecting small businesses, restaurants, mask mandations. Are you going to lighten up on them, or?
I don't
Mandate, sorry. I make up words.
That's New York. We make up slang all the time.
Yeah.
The hood will comprehend that real quick.
They understood me.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you want someone doing surgery on you without a mask? That's the reason why you don't want. That's how I look at it. Like, I want every doctor's name in terms. I want to get a team of doctors, and I want them to explain why the masks work and why they don't work. And
Clarity. Explain the precautions.
I don't think it was ever explained correctly to people.
It wasn't, and there was.
Anyone's freedom. It's not to take away your bad breath. It's so your germs don't go off my germs. Now, I don't want my employees to be. I want them to be safe. People are forced to work now in places they may not feel comfortable with. Why should those employees be in danger?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's spreading, and then your restaurant becomes this like COVID, spread coronavirus. And then your COVID becomes this spread, super spreader place. Your restaurant is because you want to be a jerk. I mean, I don't want to close restaurants down because they're not wearing masks. I want them to do the right thing.
Go about it in a precautious manner.
Without responsibility.
So moving from masks to indoor.
I wouldn't want my doctor operating without a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
An operation and they don't wear a mask, I'd be jerk. It's the same thing.
I get that.
Yeah, so basically.
But moving from masks into simply indoor dining capacity,
Okay.
are we going to keep, if you become mayor and we're still indoor dining is not allowed, would you open up indoor dining? Would there be 25% capacities, or would it be open up to the restaurants choosing?
I think, air filtration systems. Now, how about testing?
That's
Rapid
smart
testing
thinking.
at the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're worried, like, sign a waiver, other places, contact tracing and rapid testing. Rapid testing, rapid testing, rapid testing. I know it seems very, I don't know, like a freedom type thing, because I don't like to get tested, be forced to be tested, but if I have a private restaurant and I can buy a certain amount of tests and that's going to save my business and have a thriving business, then the more people get tested, the more they're going to know they have the disease, the less they're going to spread it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the most logical thing to do. Do you agree? I don't know.
Of course.
No, I do. We want indoor dining open,
Yeah.
obviously.
The rapid testing will be so great that would be like, okay, we're rapid testing. We have 100 rapid, kids. We have every day. We get people bring, tests, whatever you have to do, and then, we're rapid testing at the restaurant door. In 5 minutes, you know if you have COVID or not, and you can come into the restaurant. And guess what? 100% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing because
I mean, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system.
but it's a step to move forward. You can't just stay stuck. Oh, this is it. The minute that coronavirus showed up, we're gonna bend over and be a bunch of chickens. No, not at all. We're gonna figure out how to move forward with this. It's the example I give all the time. You're not gonna get 6-pack abs overnight. You have to work towards it. If your car has a flat tire, fix it. This is what it's about. Okay, we have these problems. What are the solutions? How's Stacey Prussman gonna deliver the solutions? And up until this point, it's been logic.
She wants to mandate mask. I don't want to mandate masks, but I want people to take self-responsibility and understand why they're wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, the whole anti-mask movement, I understand people don't feel good about wearing them, and I get that, because I hate them. But I wear them because I respect my neighbor. And if, God forbid, as mayor, I don't want to have anyone's lives in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not throwing people into a nursing home like Cuomo, okay? So I don't want that replication, because it's my city, and I'm not, on my dime, no one's gonna fucking die.
Now that's a woman right there.
Keep your freedom, and I'm gonna keep your health, and I'm gonna keep your businesses thriving as best I can. But I know it's gonna die on my watch if I can help it.
That was very well said, Stacey.
Yeah,
Thank you
yes,
very
it was,
much.
Yes, it was. So obviously, it's New York City, and how we said it's the Mecca. So also, what we have in New York City is a heavy demographic of people who don't vote, but are active within the industry, so to say, the entertainment industry, sports, music, all this stuff comedy as well. Yeah, shout out to
It actually got shot. It got shot.
what is it, Laugh Factory? I think in downtown Manhattan, I think it's called Laugh Factory. Oh, there hasn't been any. Okay, so I was right. At some point, it was it. You know. Okay. So one thing I've always advocated for, and this is what I wanted Larry to do a lot of, is get on shows like The Breakfast Club, like Hot 97, Ebro in the Morning, all of these shows, that they're broadcasting within the city, and they have a ton of, everywhere that you go, people are listening to music, or they're watching an interview, the same way people are watching this right now. Shout out to the viewership here. Thank y'all for tuning in, by the way. You got thousands of people who watch these shows daily. They're the New York City Joe Rogans, Hot 97 and The Breakfast Club. Do you have any plans of getting up there? Oh, also shout out Chrissy Mayer. I don't know if you've been on Chrissy Mayer's show. She's also.
I've been on like 20 times. Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank God.
Together. I love Chrissy Mayer.
Yeah. So the Breakfast Club, Hot 97, Jesus and Mero, and Queen's Flip, who's also a big name.
I would love to. Well, I need donate to my campaign at ProcessMayor.com. There's a donate link. You don't have to give a lot. Just give often. Give like $5-10 a month.
Can you repeat that one more time? The donation site.
ProcessMayor.com. There's a donate button. Give. You don't have to give. Give a little bit each month. $5 a month, $10 a month, and we can get PR. That costs money. It costs a lot of money to get a great PR agent and working at that. But I can't. We have a team that's doing PR, but we need even more. So donate, so we can have a really strong campaign and energize the state.
And if you're willing to attempt to get in contact with these people, I don't have immediate contact with these big shows, but I can provide you the profiles to get in contact with, because I'm currently. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because that's gonna cause non-voters throughout the city to be like, oh, okay, we have, because within the entertainment industry right now, there's a heavy emphasis on favoritism of women, to uplift women, put women in positions of power, and you being a great and intelligent, entrepreneurial young woman running for arguably one of the highest, if not the highest, positions of power throughout the nation. We want to get that spotlight shed on you as much as possible, like that your name is out there, is running waves, to the people smoking blunts and listening to music on the block.
So I want to legalize, decriminalize sex work and legalize,
decriminalize weed. Yeah, we know libertarians. They go and then they.
But I felt that way.
Right away they hear, oh my gosh, she said legalize, decriminalize. You know what we talking about? Go ahead, Stacey. Continue.
I also want to make sure that people don't go to jail for crimes that are victimless, and if they're psychological issues, help those things. And also, I want to end trafficking while keeping, people who do legal prostitution out of jail, because that is their business. What two consulting adults do that are of sound mind and body is their business. And I want
Exactly.
And I want to make sure that people that are the most fragile get protected and not get
Angela Yee, who's one of the hosts of the Breakfast Club, she's in favor of sex work, how you said, keeping it in a safe manner. And I'll tell you, as anonymous as possible, I do know certain individuals could go in any direction, anyway. I'm not putting nobody's business out there, but they conduct sex work,
okay.
And
No judgment.
no judgment, and they shouldn't be penalized for it, because some people have a record right now, so jobs aren't looking for them. And then on top of that, you add what has been the horrible effects of the coronavirus to all of this. So what happens is you have more reduction of opportunity. You know what happened with OnlyFans? The website OnlyFans, Stacey?
I know people.
Corona kicked off, right? We had a 75% spike. You could look this up, look at the stats. They're out there. It was being broadcast left and right of membership activation for content creators on OnlyFans. I'm not saying it's all sex work, but within that massive percentage, we could all agree here as adults that a huge chunk of it was sex work.
Right, and also people aren't meeting each other because they can't be near each other. With men and women, or men and men, or women, whatever sexual preference you have. people can't meet new people because of this quarantine and the virus. People are having trouble meeting up in real life, so these virtual sites are really helpful for people not to feel so lonely. You know, and I think it's important. You know, we're changing the scope. The scope is now different in the city and in the country. The scope of what's needed. You know, people are lonely. They're home by themselves. They don't have their lover. You know, and it's like, what they don't have someone in their life. What do they do? And that's, you know, something that's real and true.
I think when people hear hear decriminalized sex work, they might get concerned with the amount of trafficking rising due to this. Do you think that's a concern at all, or is it the opposite?
I'm gonna. It's the opposite. Because people should be working for themselves. And once, I mean, it's probably very anti-libertarian, and I'll say it. Once, if we can now look over people for their response to their taxes, and so if the legalization of criminal work, of sex work, and we're not putting them in jail, people in jail. Also, trans people get stopped all the time for sex work, and they're not even doing sex work just because they dress sexy. You know. So, I think it sort of is out in the open. It's not this dark place, and you can see it. It's not, and people aren't being controlled by evil pimps, things like that.
Exactly.
Now, they're held accountable, and they pay taxes, and they're a part of the society like everybody else. Sex work is a part of our society. It's the oldest profession in the book.
Thank you.
See, we're not. How about like everyone should go out and become, you know, whores or hookers, whatever you want, you know, or sex workers. You know, I'm not judging anybody's sexuality. I'm not like, you know, you're a whore because you're doing sex work. But I'm not.
You're limiting government overreach into the individual's life.
Yeah, and also protecting the most vulnerable.
Exactly.
Children and people, and that's going to be a project. It's not easy. You think it's easy to make change? Change is never easy. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and exactly, nothing happens overnight. Again, you're not gonna get those six-pack abs overnight. You're not gonna become a millionaire overnight unless, you know, there's always that minor possibility. You know, you hit the lotto or something like that. You know, but for the most part, we can all agree everything takes its time. You don't just throw a seed in the dirt and expect a tree the next day or a marijuana plant the very next day. It's gonna take its time to start flourishing.
I mean, you know, 10 years ago, my friends were in the tubes for smoking a joint outside of a comedy club, and now it would never happen. You know, so things are changing. My two gay friends just got married when I was in college. It was illegal. So so there you go. I've seen change. I've seen it with my own eyes. How society looks at weed. How they're looking at even mushrooms and things like that. And I think it's been really interesting to see how our view of life has changed, and how people are more. You have to also open people's eyes up, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, yeah. Do you want people to feel that they're safe? I think that you know, and also sex workers don't go to the police if something does happen.
Yeah, because they're scared. Yep.
And sex workers do get, you know, assaulted just like, you know, anybody else. So
one of the girls who cooperated in the Epstein case down in Florida got in trouble because of that while cooperating. You know, instead of them using discretion and saying, all right, she's cooperating, she's made a mistake, let's use discretion and give her that pass due to her cooperation. How you're seeing right now, a lot of them are in fear right now because they don't know, if we go out looking for help, whatever, we might get thrown in the box.
Right. And we don't know who's the victim right now, like they're being trafficked or they're being drugged. We don't know that. So that's why I say sound mind and body. So someone who's not, you know, they're not in the right mind doing sex work is very different than someone who's very, you know, sort of together.
So pro decriminalization of marijuana, pro decriminalization of sex work. You know,
pro opening indoor dining.
Pro opening indoor dining.
That's a big one.
I
Yes.
don't know why it's closed right now. You know, there's a way they could have opened up 50% capacity at this point.
And you're in full agreement of getting on these major platforms within the city that do expand worldwide because people are watching the Breakfast Club, High 97, Queens Flip, you know, worldwide. I look at the comments all the time. We gotta be realistic and acknowledge that these entities exist as well.
Yeah.
You know, because we want to.
I mean, I think as we get closer, you know, as time goes on, we can get on these shows because, you know, we're still dealing with our friends presidential race, that's
Yeah.
open, but after the inauguration, I think we're going to be constantly racist, things like that.
Are you also, this is something else I wanted to touch on, because a lot of people from, the urban demographic like myself and many other people, I only speak for myself here, we have relatives who utilize Section 8, who live in public housing and all that, who are trying to get on their feet, but due to the restraints that are applied with the compliance of having a Section 8 or living in public housing, you're in favor of helping the citizens utilize these things to then get ahead, correct?
Well, I think that a lot of people I know that have Section 8, no one was taking their voucher at one point, or it stopped, right? I mean, people were hard, they couldn't find housing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we need to sort of help those people, because housing became, it's not affordable. Like, I'm telling you, my mother was on a fixed income, she's elderly, I stay with her a lot, and honestly, it's like impossible. If she had to move, she'd have to get Section 8 housing. She couldn't afford it. She's on a fixed income. So, as much as I can help her, but it's like I don't have, I'm in my own situation, so I help her as much as I can. But I am in favor of making sure that first of all, I want to fix public housing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a lot of, I've had friends that live in. They need to fix. If we're gonna have a housing, it can't be disgusting. They need to fix the hallways and the elevators, and no one, I really believe we should create community among, housing places where people feel it's their, they have a garden, a community garden, a community playground, where people feel like it's their home, and it is their home, and maybe even have one of my ideas where they can actually buy into their own apartment. That's an idea I have.
I think,
land ownership.
And within apartments, that'll definitely make people, those who moved want to come back, and those who are here continue to stay here and aspire for more. Definitely.
Right. Work for something. You want people to work for something. So let's say you live in public housing. Maybe there's a way to own your apartment in some way. So rather than paying rent, maybe part of it goes to ownership. You own 10% twice. And each year, and if you make more money, you own your apartment. So there's ways. I don't know. There's all these restrictions, and there's all these sort of different types of laws, but to maybe sort of fix those so people feel like they own where they live, and that changes the whole dynamic of public housing.
And just so you know, Stacey, some people told me right now that they like what you're saying right here as I'm looking at my phone.
And donate $5. I know people are broke. Donate $5 a month if you can.
Mm-hmm.
So we can have I need signatures. I need a lot of money to do campaigns. I'm fighting against billionaires. So there are billionaires right now that it's like billionaires.
The concept that you said of ownership is so important. It leads to self-accountability, self-reliability, more of a community look on things rather than a big widespread, just renting from mass buildings or from the government, whatever it may be. And it teaches people to take care of what's theirs, and that's very important for the city of New York itself.
Yeah, I think that's so important. People have always been like, it's the landlord versus the tenant.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom almost got evicted at 85. Her landlord was going bankrupt and tried to evict an 85-year-old who lived in an apartment for 40 years. So you tell me that's not. And he got, what happened to him? The bank took his house. My mom didn't have to pay rent for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because he, karma got.
Yeah.
So the bank didn't charge my mom. Don't worry. So, and now she has a great landlord that loves her and there's respect. She respects the house. So she got lucky. She could have actually been on the street if that happened. She would never be on the street because she has me. But I'm saying if I wasn't around, she would be on the street, or she'd have to go live with some relative because people, So I want people to start taking ownership of where they live and put a program together where they don't feel disenfranchised. We're like, oh, what's the point? I don't live here. They don't own here. But if you own where you live, you take pride in that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And it helps people stay, and it allows them, if they choose to procreate, to have something to pass down to the next generation.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Stacey, a majority of.
Again, these things are easy. These are big.
No, but it's good that you're clarifying.
Absolutely, yeah.
them.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people that I interact with who say, that they don't know too much about you yet. I wanted this episode so we could get it out of the way ahead of time, so then they could get the ball rolling on spreading word about you. We gotta
Very grassroots.
we gotta have you circulating like Tekashi 6ix9ine. Realistically speaking, Tekashi erupted, you know, overnight, took over New York City for that time period, simply because of widespread. People liked what he was doing. We want people to like Stacey the same way they like Tekashi, the same way they like A Boogie.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these entertainers out there.
And a majority of our viewership are hardcore libertarians, and it is very important to them right now that you are running as a libertarian, which you are. What are the reasons that you are running as a libertarian compared to as a Republican or a Democrat or any other independent party?
Well, I feel that the libertarian movement, and I always loved it, is always part of. I'm a freedom person. Like I always believe that people should take responsibility for themselves, and government overreach is always messes everything up. And like I think that we are responsible for our own communities and our own selves and our own lives. And once you have somebody telling you what to do, and I think that creates like it doesn't create a good society. So it's in my blood. I probably lean more left than right. I'll say that much, but that's just who I am. I'm a New Yorker, but I believe that the only way to have a real capitalistic society, a healthy, is to be libertarian and to really have the best. The only way to have the best of everything is people actually competing in their market fairly.
Yeah.
And that's how you create growth. And like if you want the best team of people, you get people from all different walks of life. Like in my policy team, I have people on the left, people on the right, people in the middle, people libertarian.
A well diverse structured team. Not everybody brings a lasagna to the dinner. Somebody brings mashed potatoes, somebody brings rice and beans, somebody brings garlic bread, somebody brings the drinks. Everybody's got to be bringing something from all different angles, like that there can be unity.
Yeah, that's how I feel, and that's New York. Why would I have all libertarians, people that didn't come from a different background?
Yeah, and
I have all libertarians that were once Republicans, once Democrats, once this, once that. So that's my, so people have different, and then left people, right people, who all are working together to get the best policy possible that we believe in, that we all believe in. And that makes me feel, when we come up with policy, and I come up with policy with my team, I feel proud because we just worked at something together, and we could bring that to New York, and that's what will be successful in the long run.
I agree. What I love about the Libertarian Party is that I believe it is the true bridge of the left and right politics. All in all, that is where people can find a common ground and work together in better society, as you said.
Along with abiding by the United States Constitution, which is the foundation of this nation, the supreme law of the land, and protects everybody's individual inalienable rights. And that's what the Libertarian Party lives and dies by. It abides by that, the basis of the United States Constitution. Stacey, do you like ice cream?
I love ice cream.
I don't like ice cream. Now, us as libertarians, I could go with you to Baskin Robbins, or you could come with me to a different spot where we could, we could have
and you get to Dunkin' Donuts at the Baskin Robbins.
Thankfully, they work together. So when we go to Dunkin' Donuts together,
I have friends personally that are so different in my political beliefs. I still love them to death, and I don't want to ever feel like I'm gonna not have a friend or can't go to a restaurant with somebody. Like I'm mostly vegan, but sometimes I eat some milk because I like cheese. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm a semi-vegan. I still eat pizza. Don't hang me.
I do 90% vegan. Okay, I'm not, no judgment on anybody, whatever.
Exactly.
But I do my best. I have animal rights. It's a huge. One group that doesn't have rights, they don't vote are animals. So you fuck with the animals, you fuck with me. I want New York to be a no-kill zone by 2022. No-kill shelter. Healthy animals do not deserve to die. And I'm going to do everything in my power to get New York to be no-kill.
So look out for the animals as well.
So I like, if you guys feel the same way, that's great. I know
I'm very big on Alaskan Klikais because they're miniature huskies, but in contrast to Pomskis, they don't shed as much, and they howl more frequently. I'm very big on the howl.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think it should be it's really interesting. There should be more pet friendly buildings.
Yes.
get put into shelters because people are forced to move and they can't find a place to move with their animals. That's something I don't think. I think as long as
That's what makes people move out of the city because they can't have their dogs, their cats, or whatever they choose to own.
Yeah, and that's not fair. And I think the anti-pit bull stuff is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And, don't dog fight and this amazing pit bull. So I don't like that whole dog racism either. And I think that if we really work together, we can make it a better place for animals in the city. Where I don't know what happened with De Blasio and the horses. That was a big deal. That was upsetting. He never got that done.
I'm not sure if De Blasio got anything done, truthfully.
The only thing I'll give credit to de Blasio on is the minor decriminalization of marijuana and the minor police reform, even though the cops are still out here bothering people for corny stuff. Yeah, hell yeah. They're still out here. They still profile. That's the correct word. They still profile.
I hate that. I profile.
So let's talk on police reform, actually. Where would you like to see our NYPD head if you were the mayor?
Well, I think one of the things I would like to do with the police, first of all, what I've been told, I've been speaking to a lot of officers, and I have, OG officers I've been around, good people, these are good people, the good ones, and they do too much. They're social workers. They call it, we're social workers, we're this, we're that, we're that.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we're supposed to get, someone who robbed a bank or someone who robbed your store, your house. We're not supposed to be going to your house and you have a fight with somebody. We need to get social workers in the police force so we can de-escalate these violent, any kind of domestic violence.
De-escalation.
See,
You can't just be a police officer that just was on the job for a day. We need to, have a different task force for the homeless and mentally ill, where they're not shooting mentally ill people, or that can't be the first line of defense is shooting somebody, or at least New York we're a little bit better, I think, that way with guns in terms of police here, but in other places, I know they're not.
I do agree with you that we need separate task forces, more social help available within law enforcement. But a big conversation that comes up with that is defunding, and to me, defunding, if we're going to be adding more programs into the police department, is not the solution. How are we going to?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we need to restructure the police.
Yes.
And put the funds in social work, in mental health, and having maybe officers that are are actually mental health experts and police trained. That's where the money should go. So you have more an empathetic officer that's trained in psychology, like a psychologist.
Yeah, empathetic, compassionate, understanding. Continue.
So rather than just be these guys like you're selling Lucy's, and I had an issue with Lucy's. I think
God bless her, Gardner.
Stop smoking. It's almost one cigarette. They should be allowed to buy one freaking cigarette because then you put somebody who has a smoking addiction with 20 cigarettes, and then they're going back into smoking like crazy.
She related it to the hood because motherfuckers in the hood love buying Lucy's. But how you said right there, you subconsciously answered it. They say it's hard to quit because I'm forced to buy packs.
Yeah, it's like you're killing people in the hood because I believe it's like systemic. That's when systemic racism comes in because now you can't just buy one or two cigarettes and have it for the day. Now you're smoking. Now you have the whole pack. You're like, forget it. I'm gonna smoke the whole thing. It's an addiction. When you're dangling the addiction in someone's head, then that's what you do. That's what it's like. So how do we deal with the tobacco companies at the same and maybe create a 2-pack instead of a 1-pack? It's like also I know a lot of people make money on if you create a Lucy business and make it legitimate and pay taxes on it, then do that. There's no reason. We need to deal with that.
Something I like bringing up when talking about police restructure, as you said, is the fact that something like tackling issues for police is Lucy's, like you said, but that doesn't come directly from the police department. That's just bad politicians making these laws that only benefit big tobacco, as you said. So, because it only helps big tobacco and hurts the citizens, and now police are forced to enforce laws which are set by politicians who have, money coming in from big tobacco companies to keep these laws in play.
Lobbyists.
Well, I mean, it's like we want to, they also took away vaping. I mean, it's not totally illegal, but it's sort of illegal. I know online you can't buy in New York. So we want to bring back vaping because that was, two people, one company killed people with vitamin E in their vape. Now people can't vape. And then guess what? Vaping is the way to smoking cessation. So, we want to stop smoking. If you want to stop smoking, people vape. So that's the
Yeah,
other thing we want.
people
Yes.
allergic. People are allergic to bacon. I had a friend. We went to a certain restaurant within the city. Homeboy ate the bacon. He had a massive breakout. He looked like Will Smith in Hitch.
It's a great movie.
We still have burgers in NYC with bacon as a topping.
Right. Well, what happened was they put vitamin, some cheap pot company.
And I don't eat bacon, by the way, before
vitamin
anybody
E.
comes
They
saying
put
anything.
vitamin E in the vape, and that you can't breathe that in. It creates the glass lung. You do that over.
See, that's libertarian right there. She didn't go blanketly penalizing anybody. She found the source of the issue and tackled it.
I'm a very big fat person. Like I know, I do my research on fat. Like I found out we had a whole vape meeting, and we had experts on vaping, and we found out what happened with the vitamin E in this one company, and it created a glass lung. That's why people were dying because somebody put the wrong oil in. You can't smoke vitamin E. It's very dangerous. So just to let you know. So they put vitamin E because it looked like the right oil, and it did something. It made it sick. Whatever it did, and it was wrong. It was the wrong thing to put in the lungs, and then people ended up dying and getting really sick with glass lung. It was terrible. So they stopped letting people vape or buy vape online or whatever it was. So we need to start, where there should be, summers, people should know what's in their vape. Period. And
Yes.
and that was a way to, and vaping is safer for other people because you don't put the secondhand smoke and all that. So I want to find a way to have boosty cigarettes being sold or 2-packs maybe or something, where people can make money and still feel. Because I know in the hood a lot of people make money from that. So it's not fair. Maybe there's a way where they can get they can, if that's their business, they can make it an independent business or something. They can work with tobacco companies. I don't know. It's gotta be a solution to it, right? It's gotta be always a solution to every problem.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right about that. So, before we wrap up, we got a few minutes left. So it's like three quick bullets I want to hit. All right. First, and this is not to cause any type of conflict or anything, but throughout the time I've been involved in politics, I've heard a lot of women say they would never vote for a female simply because you mentioned earlier you're very big on facts. Women have told me several times, and not all women, there's a portion because you have your hardcore pro women, your moderate pro women, but certain women who do vote within the city have told me they would not vote for a woman because they think a woman will be too emotional and not rational enough and not dig into the facts enough. How do you respond to that?
I'm all about that. I'm all about passion, but I'm factual, and I don't lead with my emotion. I lead with facts and clarity. That's all I can say.
And you identified an issue with the vape, and they were putting in vitamin E. You didn't just blanket a problem out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any other health issues no one knows about, let me know. Like, I'm always open to hearing every side to the story. Like, tell me every side, and we'll make it consistent.
Word up. That's good on that. Now another one, because we have to ask. The banner's here.
As libertarians, we have to ask. As
libertarians,
constitutional libertarians.
Yep. NYC, arguably the most infringed on the Second Amendment, along with Chicago, I think Los Angeles as well. How do you restore the Second Amendment in New York City, along with explaining to the ladies why the Second Amendment is important to them? Because I hear a lot of females say they don't trust themselves with firearms, and they don't know how in such a big city the Second Amendment could be functional.
Well, first of all, business owners need to protect themselves, right? But I think that one of the things about guns, and I didn't grow up with a lot of guns. I was in Brooklyn. We remember that guy went crazy and shot, people on the subway. That Bernie, back in the day on the stuff. I think that the Second Amendment is important to me, and I think I'm not like a person that wants gun violence. I want to end gun violence.
Yes.
But I think that people need to understand how to use a gun. Like in Israel, they go to training for the army. I think people I think people need to learn how to use a gun properly. You don't have to own one if you don't want to, but I think that's important to know.
Yeah.
Any kind of, I don't, and I think that in New York City, we live so close to each other, and people are scared. But there's so much illegal guns here. I think
Yes.
most of the gun violence is probably with illegal guns.
Oh yeah, hands down with illegal guns. Yep.
With making firearms more easy to register in New York City, it would lead to less shootings, less crime, simply because now people are taking the firearm training classes that they need to before they purchase a weapon, a legally owned weapon, and then they're going to be more trustworthy and safe with it. They understand what they're doing rather than buying a gun off the street and using it to go settle whatever problems they have.
That's some fellow libertarian, shout out Maj Toure. He's
Maj
big
Toure.
on that, explaining the Second Amendment to urban United States, the big cities, and that's something else that
People are afraid.
you got a whole lot of
That's what people are afraid of. And you know what? People do that anyway if they want to be. If they want to get a gun, they're
happens
gonna get a
anyway.
gun.
Exactly.
I know people who've gotten guns. Amy Fisher got a gun from actually. I remember the Amy Fisher story. The guy she bought the gun from went to my high school.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow.
The guy, he bought the gun, and she shot Mary Jo in the face,
Amy
and it was,
Fisher.
that was, the same kind of, you gotta get a gun, you gotta get a gun. Now,
So you're in favor of restoring the Second Amendment within the city, just setting certain standards first, like take a safety course and all that.
learn the gun, understand the gun, like a driving class, same thing.
What is so important to
Deadly weapon, like a car, right?
yes.
A car's a deadly weapon, so is a gun, so you need to use it the same way.
What's very important to recognize about gun violence is the fact that most major cities do have the most strict gun laws. However, they also have the most shootings as well. I'm not going to say it's due to population or there's people are going to get guns, like you said, if they want to. So people that think that are watching this that might think that we're going to make guns so widely available in New York City. Maybe we will, but we're also not going to lead to further crime because of that as well. It might lead to more safety with firearms.
More safety and job creation. You'll have. Would you agree, Stacey? More gun shops will open up.
Gunshots,
Job creation,
ammunition, all sorts of equipment
It's
used.
slow. Yeah, it's gonna be slow, but it's gonna, I don't think people should have arsenals in their house, but I think people could have a gun or two if they want. I don't think someone should have
In all honesty, be careful with that one because people will say, "Hey, I want to have a whole safe full and all that." So I think we'll say.
No, you can do what you want. I mean,
Okay.
you can start small. But I'm saying,
No, because libertarians right away they'll come.
we're in New York City. Yeah, and the other thing is, in a way, I always think about if the government goes nuts, how are we gonna protect ourselves?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Look what happened with the Nazis in Germany. Maybe
First thing they did was gun control. The very first thing they did was take guns.
Right, so that's why whenever people, talk to me about guns and stuff, I always think of the Nazis. I don't like violence to begin with.
No.
But I always think about when the Nazis came from people who might think back years ago. If they might have had an arsenal, maybe they would have had a chance.
Exactly.
Word.
My favorite Sun Tzu quote is that I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Word up. Exactly. It's better to be prepared than not be prepared and
Yes.
have to deal with the immediate threat, danger, or situation that arose. It's always
I'm
good
gonna
to.
ask you a question. This is a question I've been asked a lot. I'm going to ask you this question because you are very pro Second Amendment and you've been probably looking at this. So let's say you live in a house and you have guns and there's a mentally ill person that lives in your house. How do you protect your guns? This is the question I'm asking you.
Safe is the first answer. I'm good. Well, you can answer that first, Cash.
All right. I'll say because you never know. You can have a safe and all that, but what if you're in the process of getting ready to go to the range? You're not gonna carry the safe with you. I think what we gotta do is keep the mentally challenged. Whatever.
Family member, whatever it may
Yeah,
be.
whatever it may be. The person with
Whomever.
the issue. With it, when that action is about to occur with the availability, the access, the grabbing of the firearms, whatever, you want to move them in another direction. It's the same thing if somebody springs something in your house. Hey, get out of the room, because you don't want to breathe this in. So it's like, all right, take such and such, take them to this bedroom or whatever, or take them to the kitchen. Like that. You create a pathway within your home to take the firearms to the vehicle or on your person, because obviously New York City, people are going to have to carry. A lot of people rather use the subway and public transportation in contrast to having vehicles until we fix the parking situation out here, which Larry Sharp, shout out Larry Sharp, he has a solution for that as well. So we got to restore on person carry as well. So while we're conducting that, what I say the solution is, along with educating that individual who is, dealing with the type of issue that they have in their head. Hey, there's firearms here. You have to be very, very careful because it has to be consistent, Just like setting up any type of episode, you got to make sure all the equipment is aligned and everything is going to be functioning. You got to let them know, look, you got to be careful when this is going on, along with proper procedures to follow. The same way you evacuate a building when there's a fire. Set certain protocols and all that, and we can have that in every household. The same way we have smoke detectors and these postings about emergency fire evacuation procedures. Pardon me. Firearms safety and carry and transfer movement within the household, especially for those with the terminally ill or mentally ill, whatever term you choose to use. I don't want to be out here coming across not being
Or someone who's like having a crack problem or someone who's like lost their mind or whatever.
Yeah,
But
I think it.
I want to know how people deal with it. I want solutions to this problem.
Yeah, what I say, proper safety standards to follow step by step. You don't just run outside barefoot, even though you could, but the consequences, you could possibly cut your foot underneath and so forth.
Right.
You're gonna put something on to protect your feet: slippers, sneakers, shoes, etc. Heels for the ladies. We love all women. So yeah, it's all about being more responsible as individuals, as adults, and even children as well. Because I don't think there's any type of crime that could be stamped on and out. I started staying home alone at 7, 8 years old. I grew up with my father mostly. He always told me, don't open the door to anybody. If you are going to open the door to anybody or have anybody come over, call me first.
To answer your question, Stacey, I think it's important to have a safe, of course, keep your firearms locked up, but also have an open dialogue. Normalize firearms being in the home. Let whether it's a child or a mentally ill family member or friend, let them understand that guns are normal to own. They are in the house, but they also can be dangerous if used not properly as well. Thank you. If I'm not able to get through to that with them personally on an open level dialogue, then maybe I take them to a firearms training course, sit with them into class, and have them understand from someone that's more easy to, who explains it better than I would as well. It's just a matter of talking about it, having an open dialogue, but also keeping it in a safe, keeping it locked up. Don't obviously never leave your firearms laying around in your house, even if you don't live with anybody.
Yeah.
You have to be responsible with
You don't just
firearms.
leave nails on the floor if you're doing some type of job in the house. You're hanging something. Whatever.
Yes.
You put the nails away. You put the hammer away. You safely storage the knives, etc.
And with anything with a mentally ill family member, with a child, it's just a matter of trust and letting them know that it's a matter of trust and making sure that they understand the dangers, but also that guns can be okay too.
Yeah, open dialogue and following proper safety procedures.
Yes.
This was also to add to that. They asked Cameron, the rapper from New York City, shout out Diplomats. They asked him this, I think it was on Bill O'Reilly or one of those shows years ago. Oh, you're out here rapping about guns and all that. How do you keep these kids from not going crazy with guns? He was like, that comes within the household, and in the household they gotta have open dialogue, that whoever's gonna listen to my music in that household has to know that they gotta follow certain safety precautions in contrast to whatever I'm talking about on this particular song. So again, open dialogue, following proper safety procedures. We don't have to be out here living the whole fear vibe. We have to be more self-responsible, self-owned, and precautionary and open to the dialogue about it.
People you know, if they're going to own a gun, it takes great responsibility.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like to have a baby, it's a responsibility.
Mhm.
Exactly, everything's a responsibility.
Owning a car as well. You said cars can be weapons as well. So owning a car requires maintenance and safety and.
Yeah, my father was a driving instructor in New York City, 10, 15 years, and he always said this vehicle is a weapon. It's all about how you use it.
And not everybody needs to own a firearm or needs to shoot. However, you can't take away from, as you said, you don't drive. I drive. I also take the train. I'm very I get around a lot in New York City.
Yeah, you're very
Yeah.
you
I
use
transport
your
a lot.
options, and Stacey Stacey wants to bring back options into the city.
Of course,
I
and
want people options. I want people to feel that they have options, and I think that once we do, like one of Black Guns Matter.
yes, Maj Touré.
Maj Touré again. Shout out Maj.
Yeah, really good organization. I think that
He's great.
people, black gun owners, are very important. And I think that
Jewish, shout out. I believe you're Jewish, correct? Israeli.
Yeah.
There you go.
Spanish, yes.
Oh wow, Spanish as well.
I'm also Hispanic Jew.
He's he's Puerto Rican and Jewish Israeli. I'm Puerto Rican,
Not
New
Israeli.
Rican.
Yeah. I am Puerto Rican Hispanic. I mean, I am Hispanic Jew.
Shoot guns and self-defense is important for women.
And Tel Aviv is a gigantic city. You don't really hear about.
They open carry rifles in Israel.
Oh wow.
Violence is not about the gun or the knife or the bomb. Violence comes from within.
Within.
So if you're a violent person with violent tendencies, you're going to be violent. And
Yes.
that's nothing to do with what weapon you have.
Exactly.
And for those watching who might be very against guns, which a majority of the New York City population is, yes, exactly. They're seeing it from a point of media, kind of fear porn of what guns are. Every time there's a mass shooting, the NRA is terrible, all gun owners are terrible, when there's a very small majority of legal firearm owners who are hurting other people with their own firearms. It happens sometimes, maybe.
We can't be driven by fear-based media. That's a problem too. We have to be fear-based media that, people are like, oh my God, I'm scared. Who's going to come and shoot, come to my house and shoot me? It's like, no, it's the crazy person that got the gun
Yes.
from the guy in the corner that robbed the other guy that got the gun. So we got to get the illegal guns off the street.
And as libertarians, we are in full agreement that gun confiscation by government is simply not the answer to crimes committed with firearms as well. It's just, it doesn't work. It will never work. And we should never, as citizens,
Just get another gun.
yeah, we need more. Whenever the government starts saying that they need to take away firearms, we need to purchase more firearms. Because an armed society is a polite society.
And a safe society, a slavery-free society.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. So, Stacey, it's been a great episode. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I hope we could do another one or two prior to elections.
You guys are so great. I love hanging out with you guys today.
Thank you very much, Stacey, for your time.
We're gonna help you as well in person, especially once it gets warmer. Yeah, donate once again. Tell us your donation.
Prussman for mayor. There's a donate button. All my policies are there. We're writing. It's going to be filled with more, in-depth policies. Right now, it's just very general. But we have one or two policies. My Prussman policy for anti-lockdown is up there. In the media. If you have any media connections, shoot them my way. Donate. Volunteers. Important. We need volunteers. Get the word out. And, let's make this city shine like the big juicy apple that it is.
Exactly.
Would you please tell the viewers your social media accounts as well, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram?
Stacey Prussman, everywhere, and then Prussman for mayor, PRUSSMAYOR.com.
Perfect.
Website for mayor.
Perfect.
Thank you.
This has been The Fix in New York. Once again, ladies, you have a female candidate. For our female activists out there. Libertarians, we have a candidate. Democrats, we have a candidate who wants to make sure that these public assistance programs stay in a transparent manner to help you get ahead in life. And, our Republicans, Second Amendment and police reform, not abolishment.
Police restructure.
Exactly, police restructure. There you go. Like that, we're doing our best to compromise with everybody while abiding by the United States Constitution. I am one half of The Fix of New York. Cash first, my man's
Zach, Z.NYC on Instagram.
Stacey Prussman in the building. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
This has
Stacey.
been The Fix for New York, and we'll catch y'all next time. And we're out of here.